We're the species that looks at a river and says, "You're not going that way anymore." Mountains couldn't make the great river turn, so we did. We carved the rock, corked the canyon, and told the water, "Now you work for us." Ridiculous? Maybe. But there's no denying, this dam is a real corker. Welcome to Flaming Gorge, where nature's ancient path meets our bold ambitions. We built this tunnel because the mountain was in our way. We didn't want to climb the Uintas, so we just bypassed them. 1 billion years of hardened quartzite drilled right through to save a few minutes of travel. It hit me as I drove through. As impressive as the tunnel was, the real legend waits a little farther down this road. As the byway climbs and drops, you start to feel the scale. And then the reservoir appears, 500 feet above the old canyon floor. The Bureau of Reclamation called this their giant rain barrel, 1 trillion gallons of water stored up for farms and cities far away. From up here, the dam looks like a modern triumph, but a reservoir is only as good as the rain and snow that fills it. And that's where the Ashley National Forest comes in. Even when the sky doesn't deliver, it's the high forests above us that catch, hold, and release the water slowly. Without this, the barrel would run dry even faster. I spent the night at a campsite in the Ashley National Forest that looked right out over the reservoir. As the sunset spilled across the water, I felt this deep gratitude for the way nature keeps giving, asking nothing in return. At the Ashley National Forest Visitor Center, I meet the man behind the name, William Henry Ashley. Back in 1825, he led the first mountain man rendezvous right here. After the Native Americans, these early trappers were the first wave of outside hunters in this country. They chased beaver pelts, or what they called soft gold, and used bull boats stitched from buffalo hide. They floated with the current, moving lightly, almost like guests passing through a place they respected. They took what they needed, but they didn't try to remake the land. That kind of ambition came later. Then arrived a different kind of hunter, John Wesley Powell. He didn't use what the land offered the way the trappers had. He came with boats built in Chicago, oak and pine, rigid, heavy, made for a fight. One of them even had a chair bolted to the deck so he could steer with his one good arm. The industrial age had just walked into a canyon that had been minding its own business for 1 billion years. Like Lewis and Clark with their Pittsburgh-built keelboat before him, Powell wasn't simply traveling through. He was measuring, mapping, and naming. And those maps, they quietly became the blueprint for something that would change the river forever. I see this mindset in the boats these men used. They aren't just different, they're opposites. The bull boat says, "I'll move with the river." Powell's boat says, "No, the river will move with me." Gazing down into the gorge, time just stretches. I wonder what tales those red quartzite walls could tell. There are more than enough of them, 1.1 billion years worth. I feel a kind of kinship with this river. Like me, it's a bit stubborn. Most rivers would have gone around the mountains and taken the path of least resistance. The green refused. Geologists call it a superposed stream. It's rare because it sawed straight through the hardest of rock, inch by inch, with nothing but gravity and time. And that's what makes it so ironic to me. After eons of holding its course, This headstrong river was changed by man in just a blink of an eye. But the river always has another lesson for me. Sometimes it says, the hardest path is the only one worth taking. And sometimes, acceptance is the only way. That's what the river keeps teaching me. And that's a lesson it will take me 1.1 billion years to get. In 1958, we decided the river's billion-year path needed a new architect. When Lady Bird Johnson dedicated the dam in 1964, she said, "We must build our future, not belittle it." That was the promise we believed in. We blasted 2 massive diversion tunnels through the rock and rerouted the green, just long enough to construct what the Bureau of Reclamation coined as the Giant Cork. The town of Dutch John was built in the sagebrush to house the thousands who came to seal the gorge. To stop a billion-year-old rebel, they had to build a factory in the sky. Men dangled on 25-ton cableways, guiding 8-yard buckets of wet concrete into the canyon's gap. They worked at a fever pitch, raising the wall a vertical foot every day, at least until the brutal Uinta winters forced the men to call it quits. Deep inside the rising wall, they wove 400 miles of steel tubing to pump icy water and cool the cork from the inside out. In the end, they poured nearly 2 million cubic yards of concrete across the entire project, enough to pave a 2-lane highway from Salt Lake City to Denver and back again, and installed 3 turbines, each capable of 50,000 kilowatts, ready to send power across the West. It was a race against time, heat, and gravity, but they did in 6 years what the river had done over an eon. I hiked the Little Hole National Scenic Trail to get down close to the old green, but it's stunning. It's a descent of 150 vertical feet. This is pretty cool. Through ancient quartzite, just enough of a challenge to make me earn the view. At the bottom, there's a one-of-a-kind boardwalk that clings to the river's edge. Okay, I made it down to river level, and this is what I wanted to walk on. Someone had told me about this trail, and I just thought this was the coolest thing. Let's go down a little ways. Oh, this is easy traveling compared to getting down here. Oh, it's gorgeous here. I am just right along the edge of the ridge here. There's just a massive rock next to me on the right, and on the left, well, you can see it. It's here, where the water finally emerges from the dam, that fly fishing has become legendary. This stretch is a sanctuary born from the changes the dam brought. It's the new life of the green emerging from the shadow of the Giant Cork. It's cold water. Beautiful spot. Just can't get an idea of how huge this dam is. There's no context or point of reference. It's massive. By the time I reach the dam, my perspective flips. From above, the dam feels like a triumph. But down here, between these towering quartzite walls, that concrete looks a bit fragile. I know it sounds silly, but I admit to a pang of doubt. And more than that, a quiet mourning for the old green. As a kid in the 60s, I couldn't quite name it, but I felt the contradiction. On one side, we were tearing down every social rule and boundary. On the other, we were tightening our grip on the natural world like never before. We wore Save the Whale t-shirts while living deep in the shadow of the Great Acceleration. Looking back at our lofty ambitions, hindsight's 2020. We can't change the past, but we can choose to be better stewards of what remains. We have the water and the power now, the very things we built this for. We have these sanctuaries to be healed by. But standing here, I realize it all comes with a cost. In 1963, just before the switch was flipped to generate hydropower, President Kennedy asked, "What are we going to do now so that in 50 years, people will feel that decisions made in the 60s were proper for the management of our resources?" 60 years on, I'm still asking. Next up, the Hunters of Preservation, Cart Creek and the Firemen. That'll be part 3 of our series, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Happy trails, and thanks for watching.